Invisible on ABC 7 News, brought to you by Street Auto Group. Our community matters.
When we consider the problem of homelessness, it is easy to forget that fully a third of them are women and children. ABC 7's Madison Smith looks at that in this week's installment of our year-long series, Invisible.
Homelessness has many faces, and some of them are very young. 34% of the homeless population in this country are families, and 84% of those families are headed by women.
They feel hopeless that they can't do this on their own. Maybe they're getting threats and they feel like that's the safest thing that they can do for their family at that point. Again, it's very difficult to leave everything that you have and essentially become homeless.
And that means in any given year, 1.6 million children don't know where they will sleep tonight.
They're sitting on the back porch out in the country of an abandoned building, staring at the lights of Amarillo, without water, without a toothbrush, without a comb, no clothes, no food. And they're sitting there thinking, how did I get here?
And just shy of half of those kids are under the age of 6. How does that affect their childhood years? How does it affect their education?
We work really hard with our staff to hold support groups weekly and even sometimes daily for our kids and our families and just the single ladies there. We want everyone to find peace in that way. We talk about a lot of hard things and we like to give kids an outlet just to play.
And how did the family find themselves on the street?
I would say 80% of our women that we house here are mostly struggling with a drug addiction, which led to their incarceration. It may not be a drug charge that they were incarcerated for, but it would have been their addiction that led them to their crime initially.
The causes may involve addiction in one sort or another. Mental health issues may play a part, and women who find themselves trapped in an abusive relationship may simply see any situation as better than the one they are in.
Their trauma is the same as someone in a war, but their trauma started as small children many times that they could not escape from. They had no one to help them. Their war is still going on inside of them. But with counseling, the right kind of counseling, and EMDR counseling has really shown promising to people with trauma, and we continue that with those that really need that type of in-depth help.
The single largest reason women find themselves on public assistance is divorce, or mounting debt, joblessness, minimal job skills. They all may be factors in losing the roof over your head.
That's the story of many women. You know, when CPS initially removes their children completely, most of the stories are that they just check out, you know, because it's easier to escape from the pain than to face the pain. And so that initially leads them into a downward spiral of addiction and, you know, ending up incarcerated. And then, you know, what do you do then?
The problems they face are multiple. Where do you eat, sleep, bathe? What if you get sick? What about hygiene, especially for adolescent girls?
Our shelters really make sure these kids are taken care of and they have the right clothing to go to school. And I can speak for Downtown Women's Center for sure that that is what we do. By the grace of God, we have 3 retail stores, 3 stores that we can send our families to find what they need for their children. And if they can't find what they need, we purchase it.
Most of those single, homeless moms don't have a high school education. Fortunately, there are people who care, people who see beyond the surface.
You know, when they arrive, they are really just trying to figure it out. There's so much that they have to learn quickly. They're in classes for the first 4 months, and they're gaining a lot of tools. As they move into that second portion, they're able to get a job. And so that's the first accomplishment that they have.
We call ourselves People's First Step. We have great case managers, again, who work with all of the other agencies in town to figure out what's going to be best for them next.
And we are going to make sure they're taking care of the children, feeding them, doing homework, making sure they're bathing, have nice clothes for them to wear to school. taking care of all those basic needs.
And all the while, they need shelter from the storm. So the struggle for these families is long and hard, but it can only begin when they stop being invisible.